Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter, and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar Forum member to find the link to be part of the live stream and the following after party. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member or if you're not logged into Stunthangar Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. If you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying, courtesy of Jeff Riley. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address, or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box over here, and I'll do my best to make your comments a part of the show. Now, understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient, and I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comment. And by the way, you only can do that during a live stream. So like I said earlier, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts that I host, or the many building videos, Saturday at John's, contest coverage that Sparky does on this platform, informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Subscribe, and when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all, so that whether myself or Sparky comes on, you'll be notified. Share the videos, comments on the videos. All these activities help the Stunthangar YouTube channel grow. Please consider joining that blue button below, Stunthangar's YouTube channel memberships, which start at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And by the way, I am a member, and I have the $4.99 come out of my checking account each and every month, and I don't miss it, and I suspect you won't miss it either. Plus, you'll be supporting, hopefully, your passion, your hobby. And your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunthangar. With your support, you'll get special badges and stickers we can see in the YouTube chat box. Also, unlimited access to member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel. I'm only in here twice a week. And so if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel, which is called Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt. And place your comment or question on the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which Sparky shot with his video camera, me flying his Junar XL. It's the one that's painted orange and white and orange. Now, it was predominantly orange before. It's a beautiful flying plane. And if you do that, I will be notified, and I'll be able to respond to you quickly, because that's my channel. I don't go back in this channel except for Monday and Friday night. So do it that way to get in touch with me. And I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. Please keep the conversation family, room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't say or do around your own children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post a link now at Stunthangar Forum. Let me do that. All right, link is posted. So I'll get rid of this tab. And let me go to what I call the, I call it the control panel. Let's see here. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Today is Monday, and I went out flying with my buddy Joe Mata. I mostly was launching his plane for him and encouraging him and that kind of stuff. But he had a good day. He was happy with his results. Today it's a little bit hot, and but we managed. A little bit humid out here. And looks like we have 7 concurrent viewers and 4 likes. And my friend Joe Mata told me that he's one of the first ones who does the likes. He doesn't come in for some reason, but looks like we have 7 viewers, 4 likes. Thank you very much for the likes. That helps the analytics of the show and the program. And please consider smashing that like button if you have not done that. It won't cost you a thing, and it helps the analytics of the show. So let me get rid of this here. Oh, we have some people in here. Great. Fantastic. I don't know who came in first, but I'm going to start at the top of my screen. Hey, Mark Wise, thanks for coming in.
Charles, good to see you.
Good to see you too. And Jim Hoffman, thank you very much for coming in.
Good to see you.
Right.
Good to see you both.
Absolutely.
You too, Jim.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming in early. It keeps me from having to do a dog and pony show or something to entertain people till people come in. So,
Hey, Mark, while I got you here,
Yeah.
someone asked me for a copy of the latest Pampa snail mail newsletter.
Okay.
Shame on me. Mine is gone, vanished. How would I get another one?
I have a few extras. Can you send me a name and address, and I'll mail it out?
Yep. I'm going to send it to Warren T. Hart and to Lou Wolgast. I'll send you that.
Sure.
I'll email you that stuff tonight as we talk.
No problem at all.
Fabulous. Thank you.
No problem.
looks like we have a couple more people making their way in here. We have James McKinley. I think this is an unfamiliar name, unless I'm just forgetting. And then Mark Lumen is making his way in here. Welcome, welcome. So have you been doing anything model aviation wise? I know you're gonna be typing, Jim. I don't want to interrupt you. Let's see who's coming in here.
You can interrupt me.
All right. So have you done any flying or anything, or working in your shop?
I flew yesterday.
All right.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Did the Predator again, or another plane?
No, you know what? I talked to my good friend Joe in Columbus, and I built one of his airplanes a few years ago. And we were talking, and I hadn't flown it in 2 years. So hadn't flown mine in 2 years. So I dusted it off and took a couple of flights on it yesterday.
Very, very good. Very good. Now, I've seen your notebooks. Do you have a notebook? That notebook you have, does that have all your planes, or do you have to get another volume?
Any active airplane has in that notebook. There's maybe 6 or 8 airplanes in that notebook.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. I have a small little notebook, but I saw you have a big 8.5 by 11 notebook.
Oh, you saw. Okay, that I do have a little notebook,
Okay.
6 by 9 maybe. And that's what I use for my glow airplanes. But for the electrics, I do keep a 8.5 by 11 notebook. There's more notes I feel I need to take on the electric stuff. So I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's neat to have a notebook. Or real pilots have a flight log, and so why shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I had a real pilot bring that to my attention, and I started 3 or 4 years ago having a flight log or notebook for every airplane that I'm flying. I just have it along in the bag with the handle and the reel. I have my notebook, and I have a pin loop on it, so I always have something to write with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very helpful.
Yeah, these airplanes are complex, and my memory is weak, and I've been ridiculed for taking notes, but I have records of the trim, the power, what worked, what didn't work, anything. It's very helpful to me.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let me say hi to these gentlemen here. Mark Lumen, thanks for coming in. And Tryon, thank you for coming. I know you're busy. You're going to be leaving Wednesday for the World Championship. So for you coming in tonight, I appreciate it. I know your time is very limited. And then John Miller, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. And James McKinley is a new person. He actually typed in the chat, our chat in the Zoom, not the chat on YouTube, but he says, I'm new to the group, longtime flyer, just lurking for a minute. Well, thank you, James, for coming in. And does anybody know James McKinney?
You know where he's from?
I don't know. Maybe he'll type in the chat and let us know where he's from. Oh, he says he's current MACA president. So.
Oh, okay. Isn't that the Combat Association?
That's what my guess is. And he's from Louisiana, and he says yes. So I think he says yes to the combat. That's great. So obviously, you know Mike Lonke, I would imagine. And I fly with once in a while with a guy named Greg Hill, and he's a big time combat person you might know. Well, welcome, James. Hopefully, I don't know if you have a camera or not, but it'd be neat to, and a microphone. Your microphone is muted, James. If you go to the bottom left corner, there we go. Hey, James, welcome.
Oh my goodness.
I can't hear you. I see your lips moving, so I'm gonna assume you're telling the truth. Just I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
James, are you a pilot? It looks like you're wearing a pilot shirt.
He's in a plane, in a cockpit, in the captain's seat.
I was right. That's awesome.
Yes,
Cool.
That's awesome, James. So yeah, we'll continue lurking. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much. Anyways, I know I was talking to Jim Hoffman. He did some flying recently. And anybody else doing any flying? I know you should be flying every chance you get, Tryon.
I did actually on Saturday with Derek.
Cool.
He flew my plane a few times. He was happy with it. So I said, if he's happy, I'm happy. Then maybe I'm seeing things that are in my head and I shouldn't be seeing them. And after that, we switched into training mode, in which he was judging me and helping me, give me some pointers and stuff like that, so I can beat the American team at the Worlds. Oh, no, he said I shouldn't say that. Did it with the condition that I don't do that. Oops.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's
Hey,
great.
Tryon, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I had to get a hold of AMA this morning because the guys needed a waiver to bring some of their stuff on board their airplane from AMA. Do you need one of those?
No, I don't need a waiver. However, what they need is to call the airplane ahead of time before they board the plane, I think within 24 or 48 hours, and tell them they have sports equipment. And because of that, they are allowed a little bit of extra stuff. All I just told them that I'm going to the Worlds, and I'm getting my sports equipment, my instruments per se, we can call them that. So they have special allowance for people traveling with instruments, with stuff like that. And they can be slightly oversized within some limits, but as long as you are under the 23 kilograms allowed, you should be fine.
Okay. They contacted me because 3 of them are flying, actually, all 4 of them are flying flying electric, and they have to bring their lithium batteries.
There is not an issue, as long as you get them in your carry-on.
Has to be carried on. Can't be in your check bags.
Yeah, it cannot be in a check bag. That's the only requirement.
Okay, well, they're fine.
Yeah, so I flew with them to Romania and back. I didn't have an issue anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Let me say hi to Tom Rammel. Hey, Tom, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. One of our,
Hi, guys.
I don't know if you were the first one to come in. I know that Gary Sinclair is also a VIP. They did the like, and then they came in And Mark Lumen also is the VIP. Just I appreciate you guys doing the likes. It helps the channel analytics so that it becomes.
What the heck is?
And I was thinking about August. Yes, August 1st. Let me. I might have a little bit better image on my desktop. I can bring up. Let me. Thank you for reminding me, Tom. Just 1 second. Let's see here.
There was tornado warnings around Brodak this little bit ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Weather is where
Hey,
they're all.
Caffeine. Thanks for coming in, Caffeine.
Hi.
So, long story short, I had some little things to deal with before I leave. I need to put the stickers, the FAA stickers on the plane with my FAA number and all the stuff that's going on a plane. I have to make 2 stickers, one that goes on one plane, one that goes on the other one. I repaired my landing gear block on the new plane. I gutted everything out and I put a brand new one instead. And it's much better right now. I mean, just they don't even compare what I had before with what I have now. More rigid, better build. Just everything is just better.
Oh, very good.
That's that. And speaking of practice, you're talking about practice. I can share one of my practice flights if you guys want to see it.
Yeah. Hey, let me just show up this calendar real quick because I know Gary works hard on this, and this is the first of the month, and I want to share what Gary does for us. Let me see here. Where is my screen share? Where is that at? There it is. Screen share. Okay, and here we go. All right, so this is the month of August. Is that showing up for everybody?
Oh,
Yes.
It's an image
Yeah.
of
John.
Sparky and John at John's house. There's quite a few programming on Saturdays and Sundays on this channel where these two gentlemen are working for hours in their garage, and they take their lunch break and come back and then continue on. And then sometimes Sparky comes back on even that evening. So this is a good shot. Looks like it's his Liberty. That's John
It is.
Jordan on the left. And anyways, let me stop sharing. And thank you, Gary. I think it's neat. And anybody who's interested, who's on Stunthangar forum, who comes in here, we just submit some pictures and to Gary Sinclair, and he'll probably start working on next year's calendar. So go ahead. I have this set up so you can share. This is a video you're going to share, Tryon?
Yeah.
All right, cool. It's showing up, you guys?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious because I don't see it yet.
Here we go. It's
Coming.
got the black screen with
Oh, he's sharing his screen. It's black.
Ryan, also known as RR, has started screen sharing. I just got a black screen.
So this is actually after I
Hey, Gordon, thanks for coming in.
Hi, Charles. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. How you doing?
Hey, I got a little message for John Miller.
I didn't do it.
Jim Rhodes has been trying to get a hold of you.
Who?
Jim Rhodes.
Oh, yeah?
And he says it goes to voicemail.
Well, that's probably because the battery was dead and I didn't know it. But it's charged up now.
Well, give him a call when you get a chance.
All right.
You still sharing Tryon? I think Tryon, he got kicked out or something. What happened? Or he's coming back in. Wow,
just
do we
kicked me
have
out.
Boy, we have a lot of text, a lot of chat. Man, I am way behind. Let me just acknowledge some people here trying. You got it going yet, or what?
I can do it. Just go ahead.
All right, let me just catch up. Mark Lewin said, "Got you like." Thank you very much, Mark. Tom Ramel said, "Like provided." Thank you very much, Tom. And Gary Sinclair, "Like provided." Thank you very much. And Fernando says, "Hi." I don't think I've seen Fernando before. And then we have Django Fett. That's cool. He says hello. Then Fernando says, "What's up, y'all? What's up, Django Fett?" And Django Fett says, "You know, the usual." And Django Fett, but I was in the zoo today and monkey threw a rock at me. Oh, wow. Don't piss off a monkey. Let's see what's going on. This is I'm just kind of scanning ahead, and it's really nothing to do with what we're doing. So I'm just gonna let that go. I don't understand. Hey, Keith Trossel, thank you for coming in. And Jerry, thank you, Jerry, for coming in.
Good to be here.
So is your video up? Trying? Yep. All right. I gotta find it on my many screens here. Here we go. There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
You guys all good?
We're all good.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where it cut off. You know, this is after the wing over.
Can you make it bigger, Tryon? The bottom right corner of your video.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah. Thank you. Excellent.
There we go.
Wow.
The inverted part was much better. You can hear the motor kind of getting upset when I fly through my own turbulence and it shakes the plane. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I can't hear audio. I just see the video. I like the entry into that outside. That was nice.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm not sure.
So far, I see improvement.
We have an extra tab open, it sounds like. Try it again, John.
I said, so far, I'm seeing improvement. I mean, you're doing real good before, but
It's a work in progress.
I hear you.
Was there no wind that day or what? I see you stepping back.
Yeah, dead air. I was flying through my turbulence, so you can hear the motor going like, whoa, 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 you know, because I was shaking so hard.
Oh.
I was going through the same spot.
Okay.
Give or take a little bit of something.
But the goalpost sure centers up your vertical.
Yeah, I was using it.
Tell you how far off you can be.
Yeah, I was definitely using it. I'm trying to concentrate better on the intersection here, on the vertical intersection. Try to hit it at the same time, same place.
Yeah.
A little slow in transition, but yeah. Here starts to come the better parts.
You might think about narrowing that up. It's a little wide.
Okay.
Gang.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, gang.
And my favorite part of the whole pattern is the 4-leaf clover. Watch this.
Here. Oh, pretty good.
Not bad.
Hey, try it. I don't.
Mm.
It's a bad echo.
Yeah, we have someone has an extra tab open.
I don't think it's my phone. I also have
Uh-oh. We have Mark's iPhone. I wonder who Mark's iPhone is.
That's me.
Oh, okay. So you're in there twice. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I don't have an iPhone though. I'm using it on my Android.
Okay. And we're very good, Tryon. I see some improvement. Yeah, definitely been working on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out short a trim video. I think after we change the flaps, I've got that short trim video that's got that awesome takeoff and some nice corners. If you want to show that,
That'd be fine. I'd like to get rid of the echo too. If we could get rid of the echo. Is it echoing now when I'm talking?
No.
All right, good. Great. Anybody have any comments or critiques for Tryon? I know it's he's going to the world championship. He'd probably like to know what you think, because he's going to go up against some really good pilots.
It was hard to tell because it was just a little bit out of the picture, but it looked like you might have been Xing the intersections on the overhead. Everything else looked fairly decent. There were a couple little things, but there always is. But you're showing improvement from the last time I saw you fly. I don't know. It just looked like it was Xing the overhead on the intersection.
Another thing, they have a new entry on the 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, he did it.
Oh, I thought he came out high, didn't he?
He came out. You got to start at 5 foot, go straight up.
I guess I missed that part.
Well, an FAI lets you do it both ways on the entry, either the 42 degrees or from ground level. It lets you do it either way.
Oh, wow.
But
Sorry, guys. I got disconnected. I got kicked out.
No problem. No problem. I'm glad you got back in. What was someone saying? I stepped on their words.
I was gonna say I've got that other trim video. Trying if you want to show that too.
Sure, go for it.
Let me see if I can do it without making a huge mess out of this. Did that show up?
Trying to.
Did it show up?
Yeah,
it's showing up now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No.
All right. It's a short one. So And now
Now, who is this flying?
I think this is also a Tryon.
Okay.
It's a nice site.
Yeah.
That's your backyard, right, Mark?
Yeah.
He moved the goalpost.
Big,
It's like Howard's backyard.
yeah, sort of.
That was a short video,
Right,
not
I
even
think-
moving.
Yeah.
I'm going to try lengthening your takeoff roll.
Oh wow, so out of sync. That's what it is.
Is it? It's probably my internet.
Screen's frozen.
Is it?
It's not moving on my screen. I still have it.
Me neither.
I don't see it. It's static on my screen.
Mine's frozen.
It sounds good.
Ah,
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah.
probably makes no difference, right? Still frozen. Hello. Still frozen, guys?
Yeah, it's not working, Mark.
Oh,
Not for
okay,
me.
yeah, let me.
It's not working.
I'm back.
position.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I can get it to stop.
Yeah, that was in a time when I had some issues with the plane, and I had suspected some things, and I think I fixed them.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is gone right now. Seems to behave the way it should.
Yep, out here.
So what happens? I have the rear skin of the plane from the main spar to the trailing edge. It was a large surface that was unsupported, and was just a composite material. And I was suspecting that in the hard corners, there was so much pressure on them because I fly the plane pretty hard. It was so much pressure on them. I think they would collapse a little bit, just squish themselves or something like that. Was either on the inboard or the outboard. So I put another vertical foam spar between the top and the bottom, about halfway between them, and that kind of took everything out and just start to behave after that. So that's what I did. I call it a structural upgrade.
Yeah.
So that's what I did on it. And right now, actually, Derek flew both of them. Flew Frankenstein and Beast mode. So there are three revolutions right now flying. One is called My Stradivarius. One is Frankenstein, and the other one is Beast mode. So,
and Beast mode is the newest one, correct?
Beast mode is the yellow one. Yes, the one that you saw in a picture over there.
Very, very good.
It's
very good. Let me say hi to Dennis Adamus, and he came in, and Carl Reed. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Bob Hunt, of course. Thank you very much.
Bob.
So Derek taught me a couple of tricks, especially to iron out my loops. I got some vortex generator on the elevator. That made a big plus, made another big plus over there. With advice, we iron out some stuff that I was doing on my outside squares. Also in outside squares in a horizontal square loop, square 8. So I was doing a little something. I was kind of like getting lazy and complacent and just kind of not focused, and told me like to be more focused, concentrate on certain things, because I wasn't diving straight down. I was diving a little bit shallow, kind of, and then I had to turn more to go inverted. And I was doing that every time on my outside square. So after that, I learned how to focus on that. And he told me, like he said, if you stay focused and stuff like that, you fly very well. So, by the way, that video was before I did the structural upgrade, and there was like and before I fixed the hinge line on the root of the wing, because the hinge line is sitting like this, but if it moves up and down, the flaps moves up and down, then you can give it the control, right?
Right.
But it moves like this also, so you don't have equal throw left and right. So I have fixed the hinge. There was a big upgrade. I mean, that just the plane flew much better after that, like what I showed you in the video here. And then I did the structural upgrade to put the vertical wall, and that pushed it even further out to fly much better. So in the video over there, actually it's not flying very well.
Okay.
I'm flying around the problems.
Very, very
Is the
good.
hinge still Kevlar?
Yes. Yeah, I'm staying with that. I'm very happy with the Kevlar hinges. They're very smooth. They're very loose, very easy to install. I don't see any reason for which I would go back to complicate things and make things more complicated for what? Yeah.
Right. Cool. Well, we done chopping that up? Are we done chopping up the video, the Triumph flight? We can move on to something else. Unless someone else has some other critique or question to help Triumph. All right.
Yes, I'm gonna have to rewind to see what the critique was because I was kicked out completely.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it'd be it'd be easier if it was not live streamed. I don't want to live stream stuff like criticism. I personally kind of hesitant to do that.
Oh no, man, that's how I learn. I learn from my mistakes, from whatever people tell me. Like I'm pretty open. I'm not a hard ass, when it comes to that. It kind of hard to hurt my feelings, and stuff like this. That's that's why I go to other people, ask them questions and stuff like that. I don't, yeah. That's how you learn.
Well, Sunday ended EAA Air Venture in Oshkosh for full-size aircraft, and they built a Sonics in 1 week during the convention there.
Wow.
And EAA has a new program to try and get kids involved in RC airplanes. And some of the EAA chapters can purchase an airplane kit and have kids build it. Our local chapter purchased one, and we're going to start that program for some of the local kids here.
Very good.
What are you doing with yourself, Jim Hoffman?
Hey, let's see. I went flying yesterday in Tucson. That was nice. I flew a model I built a few years ago. I hadn't flown it in 2 years. It was a replica of a Joe Reinhardt airplane. So,
oh wow,
we were talking on the phone, and I realized I hadn't flown the thing in 2 years. So I
a
dusted
Snoopy?
it off. Say again?
A Snoopy?
Yeah, is a replica of his pink Snoopy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun project. Fun project.
He's one heck of a builder.
He is. And so I had I actually got to, I could show you a picture actually of.
Yeah, please do. I don't know if I've seen that plane before.
All right. Because it's the airplane that he was flying when I met him in the 1970s that still exists today. It's a little beat up and it's not airworthy, but it's in Arizona right now. So have some photos of them together. So let me see if I can do that. So I have to share a screen.
Yeah, in the bottom of the center, you'll see a green button that says share screen. You first want to get your picture up first. And then once you have it up, then go to share screen at the bottom, click that, and then you'll select what you want to share. And then I think it starts share and then it'll show up.
Guys, I have to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, so
All right.
I'm
Brian,
out of here.
Thanks for coming in,
Good luck,
Brian.
Brian, when do you leave?
I
Brian,
leave Wednesday,
Next
This
Wednesday?
week?
this Wednesday.
Okay.
This
Well,
Wednesday.
have a
Bye.
safe trip and
Yeah.
do
Safe.
really well. Kick some butt.
I'll try to, man.
Okay.
Be very careful. Good
I
luck.
make no promises, but I am gonna give it my all.
All right.
There you
Very
go.
good.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See you, Tryon. Thank you.
Those are
Snoopy.
nice.
All right. That's
So,
cool.
am I successful at sharing my
Yes.
screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. I mean, look at it.
All right, so this is the airplane that Joe Reinhardt was flying in the 70s when I met him.
Wow.
The one on the right is the original, and that was built in 76, I think. Mine was built in 2016. They're aerodynamically identical, much different power. His had an OS 35 stunt. Mine has a PA 40 light rear exhaust. The landing gear, you see the landing gear there,
Yeah.
that's a one-of-a-kind titanium landing gear.
Wow.
He got a blank from Glenn Lee in the 70s, and it took him a week of evenings to grind it with a file to some sort of airfoil shape. So that landing gear has been on half a dozen airplanes.
Wow.
And now it's on mine.
Very cool. That is now is the
Very
pilot Snoopy as well?
Yeah, I'll show you a better picture. So
All right.
that was one of Joe's contributions too. He carved a Snoopy head and sent it to me.
Nice.
Here's some more photos.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very neat.
Hey, guys.
How does it
Hey,
fly?
what's up, Mike? Thanks for coming in, Mike.
Not too much. Then good to be here.
Yeah, Jim Hoffman's showing his Snoopy. Are you familiar with that plane, Mike?
No, I'm not. It's
Neither
good
am
looking.
I.
Pretty airplane.
It is.
It's a one of a kind, two of a kind.
Very
So there's a
nice.
better view of the Snoopy
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very cool.
carved balsa wood. Couple
Oh,
of
that
grand.
Very neat.
is very cool.
Jim, how does it fly?
It flies pretty good. Flies pretty good. But it really, it's a 600 square inch, a little bit bigger than a Nobler. His was featherweight at about 39 ounces, and I flew it in the 70s. Mine is in the low 50s, but with much more power. So, the thing that I learned about it is the flaps are too big.
Okay.
So mine I've trimmed out as much flap as I can. And I even have some plastic tabs now to increase the elevator area.
Are you running more elevator throw than flap throw?
I have as much elevator throw as I can. And I didn't want to cut on the flaps for aesthetic reasons, but that's really what it needs.
Have you tried putting on the gurney flaps on the elevators yet?
No, not, you mean the little T section?
Yeah. Gurney,
Not
they're
on
called gurney
this.
flaps.
Not on this.
Try them. You'll be amazed how much better it'll fly.
Well, you know what? I tried that on my Predator. I couldn't tell the difference,
Really.
except
Well,
it
you
added a
made
ton of drag.
Huge difference on my airplane.
Yeah. Lou had that positive impact on an old timer. He put it on.
Yeah.
So this is Joe's. He does something that's really tough is he fares in the flap horn So I did that too, but boy, that really makes the construction process difficult. Because
Neat
you got to
little
have
touch.
everything hinged and together early in the process.
Oh,
Neat,
that's
neat
very
little touch.
interesting.
though, Yeah.
So let's see, this is mine, right? The carbon prop. His never saw a carbon prop.
I like that look of that flapping elevator. How you flared in the horn.
Yeah.
I like the Snoopy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the original. This is the old airplane.
Oh, that's cute.
So
Yeah, one day that just showed up in the mail. So yeah, here's his.
Oh, is that an access hatch I'm seeing on the fuselage behind the canopy?
There.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Looks like it's access to the platform.
Yeah, that shot, that's an access after the fact.
Okay.
We've all had those.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It looks familiar too. I have an airplane that has the same markings.
You resemble that remark, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Denny was always smart. He always put them in before he finished his airplane.
Oh.
So here was a shot. This is Angelo Smith, who's Joe's cousin who lives in Tucson. So this is that one day where we had both airplanes together.
I'm just seeing a single plane right now.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at the flap.
I'm failing here then. Trying to share my screen.
Hey, get it together, Hoffman, will you?
I'm new at this.
You're doing good, Jim. You're doing good. Great. While you do that, let me say hi to Phil. Thank you for coming in, Phil.
There.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna unshare my screen, see if I can figure out how to do that.
Well, I see two airplanes right now.
Yeah.
It's just
I like
interesting to note that he had an annular inlet way back then.
Yeah,
Oh.
I saw that early on. I didn't know what it
Yeah,
was
that's
called.
neat.
Yeah, that was not easy to do.
Yeah.
The other subtle thing, if you notice, is a 3-blade prop in a Vico spinner. Well, they didn't come that way.
How do you do that? How do you fill in that little hole?
Right. Well, I said you can't do that until he showed me. He took a piece of aluminum sheet and some JB weld and filled that little slot. And then you just grind out the slots as required.
Wow.
And I did the same thing and balanced it, and it's been trouble-free.
Wow.
That's a small 1.75" Vico spinner.
I remember one of those on a early Crossfire.
Yeah, that's true.
I have one new that's still in the box.
Yeah.
1 3/4.
I got a bunch of them that have that cutout for the third blade and that little hole still existing, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's got some modern stuff. It's got a plug, the tail wheel plugs out. It's got a PA40 light rear exhaust. I built a muffler for it. It worked out pretty nicely. But those titanium landing gear are heavy. But that's what it had, so that's what this had.
Do you think you have a vertical CG issue because of it?
I don't think so. I measured it. Everything was good. But yeah, something worth revisiting. It made me appreciate my modern airplane.
Yeah, how about it?
So,
Pretty airplane, Jim. Nice
That is
work.
pretty.
well, thank you. You guys should see Reinhardt's stuff in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's jaw-dropping.
It
I know a
is.
lot of you have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. He does beautiful work.
Does Joe have any of his others? I remember, I think it was after the pink one, he had one that was done in shades of gray that was really stunning too.
Right. Well, the original Snoopy was gray and green. And he actually gifted that to me, and I brought it out to Arizona. But later on, he built a series of planes that he always used grays and silvers because he felt it's the lightest weight finish he could put on. And yeah, he was a concours winner one year with one of those airplanes. That's probably what you're remembering.
That Guardian that he has, that thing is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what really impressed me about Joe's work was not only was it stunningly beautiful to look at, all metallic finishes, and then, that shows every flaw, and they didn't show anything. But he also routinely built those 38, 39, 40-ounce airplanes. So he was doing the finish and keeping the lightweight, which means that he was, he had a total package there. It wasn't just layering up the clear or anything like that. So.
Yeah, his craftsmanship was just meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, his stuff was feather light. You're
Glad
right.
you brought that up, Denny. I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead.
His stuff, I just said, his stuff was feather light. Still is.
Since we're on the subject of finishing and appearance and all that, right? Let's a little controversy into this tonight, okay? About appearance point judging. Did any of you remember Ron Burns' FM2 Wildcat?
Of course.
I remember it.
Do you know where it sat on appearance points at the Nationals in '88?
Out the back door.
A 10-point row. Because it had a scale matte finish on it. And the event director said, well, that's not a finish, and took it to the back and never even looked at it again. It may have been the most perfectly finished airplane. I'm sure if Keith was here, Keith is indisposed, but those of you who have seen that airplane, I'm sure you will agree, if not the most perfectly built and finished airplane in the history of the event, certainly in the top 5. All right. Now, how many people think that appearance, when they say finish, means gloss?
A lot of people who do.
Yeah, but where does it say that in the guidelines for the appearance points?
Well, I'm sure.
So
We need to have the appearance points, the guidelines that people follow for those to be, changed in a couple of ways. In my opinion, it's my opinion. I'm throwing it out after this for comment, and I'm sure not everybody's going to agree with what I'm going to say. But a perfectly finished matte finish, perfectly applied matte finish, is just as difficult and should get just the same amount of points as a perfectly applied gloss finish. Does anybody have an issue with that statement?
no, not me.
Not me.
Okay, so now the 2 criteria are what?
Perfectly finished.
Workmanship and finish. Yep. Right? Those are the 2 criteria. Do you also agree that if someone puts on very minimal trim and does it absolutely perfectly, that it should get less points than somebody who puts on a whole lot of trim and does it perfectly? Should one get more points than the other just because it's more work done?
No.
I thought that appearance was, and again, I'm a newbie, but for me, just reading, I mean, appearance is, it's about the build.
It's about what, Mark?
It's about the build, right? I mean, it's symmetric.
Well, no, there's 2 criteria. Workmanship is 10 points, finish is 10 points.
Right.
Okay, so it's not just about the build, but finish as well.
Well, yeah, I guess finish. I guess my words might not have been the best. Build.
Okay. So
build.
Let's just focus on finish just for a moment, if we can. Okay. So we're all in agreement that a perfectly applied gloss finish should get no more points than a perfectly applied matte finish.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so obviously history proves that's not the case. Okay, now let's go to construction. I don't think there's any argument about what perfection in construction is. Jim's airplane and Joe Reinhardt's airplane, a number of airplanes from people we know are perfectly constructed. Okay, now here's one of my bones of contention about this whole thing. we're almost compelled to build a brand new airplane every year, because if you go out and fly it a lot, it's going to get dings and dents and hangar rash. And then when you take it to appearance, it'll get knocked down because of hangar rash. Was that part of the actual build?
I thought there was something in there about hangar rashes not supposed to enter into it.
That's what Mark Wise
I
said.
think Mark Weiss, yeah, he said
recently.
that a couple of weeks ago that they would not taking normal wear and tear, into the. Mark corrected us if I'm wrong, but I think that's what he was saying, that they did not take normal wear and tear into the judging.
Mark and I have had this discussion just in the last couple of days, so he knows where I'm going with this.
All right.
And yeah, he's right not to take that into. I think now this is all my opinion, just my opinion.
Sure.
An airplane that was perfectly built is pretty obvious. When there's a hangar rash, you can tell that the person didn't actually build that hangar rash into the airplane. He didn't build it into the airplane. So why is it being detracted by some appearance point judges as on the workmanship side of the ledger? They take off because it has some dings or dents in the airplane that were obviously not built into the airplane. It's obvious that the construction of the rest of the airplane is at whatever level it is, 8, 9, 10, 7, 6, whatever it is. But why take off points when it's obvious that the damage was not built into the airplane? It happened, after the airplane was finished. And everybody in agreement with that?
Normal wear and tear.
Yeah.
Jim, go.
Well,
Hey, Bob.
I haven't,
Oh, hang on, Mike. Just 1 second. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey,
Bob, I haven't consulted the rule book lately, but before I would answer any of these questions, I think I would want to have a detailed read of that section of the rule book and see what it says. I know everyone has their perception of what it says, but I would question when's the last time anyone actually opened up the rule book and read it.
Bingo.
So
Bingo.
I'm not going to debate any of these things.
Yeah, so
I have seen
having read all that, over the years, and having seen how some judges interpret when they're judging, I don't totally agree with their interpretation. It seems like lately, the more gloss you put on an airplane, the higher the finish score you get. That just seems like what it is.
I have
That's the way it's
seen.
been for several years.
Right.
Well, perception is fact these days. I mean, it's
No, the rule book's the fact.
Well, of course it is. But the discussion is about why and why is it or isn't it, for a perfect finish, But yeah, I certainly agree. Yeah.
For those of you who didn't have the privilege of seeing Ron Burns's FM2 Wildcat, and it was, I believe, an FM2, which my dad worked on during the war. He was the chief troubleshooting engineer at Eastern Aircraft. So when I saw the FM2, I was really excited about it because that's what my dad worked on, during the war. And what Ron chose to do was something that was almost incomprehensible. Yeah, go ahead. Oh,
I'm sorry, I was just waving. I'm sorry, I was waving at Steve.
I thought you had a question. All right. That airplane was modeled after an airplane that actually existed, a full-scale airplane, that had been painted and left out of the weather and had been weathered. And then another finish was applied over that finish, and that one weathered, so you could see portions of the previous finish showing through the new finish.
Wow.
Wow.
Now,
Particularly the stars.
it was done to the nines. It was done to perfection. And somebody arbitrarily looked at that and said, "Oh, this looks ugly," and took it to the back of the room and set it there. And that's why I think we need to revisit the appearance point rules and make them so that people who put in an extraordinary effort like that don't get overlooked.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing is that then monocoated airplanes should score as high as painted airplanes. There's just as much work, if not more, goes into monocoat.
I'm not arguing.
So that would have to be looked at. And, it's like, but when you look at finish, when it comes to hanger rash, the finish ain't good if it's got hanger rash on it. I mean, if you go to a car show and you got a big scratch in the side of your paint, you're not going to score as good as, you know, you can say at one time that was perfect, but it ain't perfect now when I'm scoring it.
All right, but this, you just came in, so this is something we were just discussing.
Yeah, I've been listening to you.
All right, the construction was perfect before the hangar rash happened. The hangar rash was not part of what the owner did to finish that airplane. So why should he be knocked down for something that was not obviously part of what he did on that airplane?
Because you're judging the finish.
Yeah, you're judging the finish.
As you look at it right now, I'm judging this finish. I can't judge it from how it looked 10 years ago because I wasn't judging it 10 years ago. I guess if I judged it 10 years ago and I knew that other things weren't fixed, you know, people go back and try to fix little things and make it better and all this kind of stuff, and they'll get a higher score. I mean, you look at Sparky, he won concourse, but that airplane's been in there before.
No,
Did stuff, made
no.
it nicer.
Never took it to the Nationals before.
Oh, I thought he had it at the Nationals before.
No, he never.
No.
That plane never was. It was like
Well,
7
He
years
didn't
he
like the way it flew.
He didn't fly it, so obviously he's saving it for a bigger contest.
Well, yeah, he never flew a.
Deal with that wind that first day.
But you know, I kind of just look at it that way. The deal is, then if you got, say, a 15 and you took it home and polished it up better and all this kind of stuff, then you should always get a 15 because it's, you know, nothing's changed there.
Well, this is why I brought this up, because there's going to be differing opinions on how this should be looked at. And I think we need a better guideline for judges to look at, especially, and I think the one thing that's not even arguable is that a perfectly applied matte finish should get just as many points as a perfectly applied gloss finish, because a finish is a finish. It doesn't say what the character of the finish was. It doesn't say in the rule book the character of the finish. It doesn't say shine. It says perfectly applied finish. If it's a perfectly applied matte finish, it should get just as many points as a perfectly applied gloss finish, in my opinion.
Well, a perfectly applied monocoat finish should be in there then.
No argument.
Yeah, it's a finish, so yeah, makes sense.
No
Well, I
argument.
got a question.
Yeah.
Does anybody know Ron Burns? Does anybody know what's happened to him?
I haven't heard from him for several years.
Well, I hope I had heard, and it's just I heard it from somebody that I don't know if knew what they were talking about or not, that the Nats experience disgusted him so bad that he quit flying. And I sure hope that's not true.
No, that's not true. He kept
Good.
building. He kept building, and he had several immaculate airplanes. He's in central coast of California somewhere. Doesn't have a place to fly control line. He was dabbling around with radio control last time I talked and heard from him, and that was several years ago.
Well, I'm glad he didn't quit because I was at the Nationals where his plane was, and I saw him set it on the back row, and I remember what won the concours. And I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but I thought Ron's plane should have won. The landing gear was right. The dimensions, everything was scaled. That thing was gorgeous.
A lot of people felt that
There
way.
was no question it should have won. There was no question it should have won.
Yeah. That thing was, even the interior, the cockpit area was detailed on that thing. It was just flat, looked real. He'd even the inside the cockpit, guys, where the plane would have been green when it was new, he had silver showing through where when the guy got in the plane, it would have rubbed those areas off. And it was just, the whole plane was just, I mean, Keith builds a perfect finish in my opinion, but this went way beyond. This was just, it was the most perfect scale plane I'd ever seen.
I saw that airplane crash.
Perfect stunt ship I've
Oh,
ever seen.
no. He crashed it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
It wasn't long after that one Nationals. He brought it to a contest at Sepulveda. Not Sepulveda, but
Whittier Narrows?
what?
Whittier Narrows?
Yeah, at Whittier. And it was a decent day. And I don't think he put in a practice flight at all, but he was ready, or maybe it was a practice flight. And when I launched him, and the engine was running a little rich, and he started his wing over and is all over. But
Oh, no.
yeah,
That's awful.
I did a series. I did a series when I was writing the control line stunt column for Flying Models on the multi-part series on all the semi-scale, notable semi-scale airplanes, that semi-scale stunt airplanes that had been built, and I dedicated that series to Ron Byrne because of how impressed I was with how perfect that airplane was.
That airplane looked like he just shrunk a real one.
How do you grade construction? I mean, the people who had wings fold on them, I think they got too many points for construction at the NAS.
Well, you can't see the internals when you're looking at an airplane. You can only look at the fits and how the airplane fits together and how well the construction was done from an external point of view. You can't look inside the airplane, and you certainly can't go back after the airplane falls apart in the air and deduct points.
You know.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, construction is you cover it with paint. You can't. I mean, if you got gaps in wood and stuff like that, and you fill it, sand it out, you can't see it. You don't know what the construction is like.
Well, so what?
It's covered with paint.
That's exactly what we're saying. That's what they're saying. I mean, a finish is a finish, whether it's a matte finish or it's a clear finish.
Right,
so
but that's what I mean.
exactly what
Construction
you
is
said.
that's just crazy.
Well, construction isn't.
You can't see construction.
Construction isn't
Not part of it.
That's not part of appearance points.
Yes, it is.
Appearance points is just appearance. How does it look? There's nothing in there in the rules about construction.
And it's workmanship.
It's well, and it doesn't even mention workmanship. It just says appearance or appearance and finish.
Well, then how come we have two separate 10-point things? We have workmanship and finish.
No, we don't.
When did that change?
Well, let me get the rule book.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I think that with a
In
matte
regards
finish.
to the folded wing, I think probably Joe Gilbert's wing got weakened the year before in those monster winds.
Well, that airplane's been around for about 12 or 15 years, so it's well saturated. It's been living on borrowed time, as any of our airplanes would be that old, flown in those kind of conditions.
Appearance, minimum 10 or minimum 0, maximum 20. Appearance points are added to the contestant's flight for scoring purposes. You want me to read the paragraph on appearance?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Says model shall be judged for appearance complete and ready to fly. After model has been judged, nothing will be removed from or added to the model which in the judge's opinion changes in any manner the appearance of the model from the way it was when presented for appearance judging. However, during an attempt for official flight after the contestant has begun to crank the engine, if it becomes necessary to remove the propeller spinner or change the propeller, etc., then it is permissible to leave off the spinner for that particular flight. Any damage to the model after judging or changes that may be made as a result of such damage will not be a cause for loss of appearance points. Appearance judging will take place before the contestant's first flight. Judges shall exercise prudence in assigning points and reserve excellent point values for those models which are decidedly above average, period.
What year did it change from having workmanship and finish? Because it used to be like that. I remember that being on the score sheets.
That would have been, I can go back and check some, okay, I'll go back and see what.
Yeah, that'd be nice to know.
Did they ever change the score sheet?
I would say with finish, it should be how the airplane, if you do a World War II type airplane or World War I or something like that, then a matte finish.
It's judge's opinion.
Right. But a matte finish hides a lot of stuff.
Not necessarily. I'll disagree with that.
I disagree with that too, wholeheartedly.
Now that's why, you paint walls and stuff flat, and they're even doing ceilings flat now because it's hard to see the defects. You put a full gloss finish on your ceiling and you will pick out defects like you can't believe.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah,
it works.
I put on
the
a
shinier
matte gray
something
finish
is,
on my-
the more it will show a defect.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, and as is everybody. I've just brought this up because it's interesting to note that different judges will look at things differently, and we really need some way of writing a guideline that will be fair to people who, let's say, want to put them out. Have you anybody looked at the modern cars, some of the really hot cars that are being produced, and motorcycles? They're in matte finishes and they're gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
You know.
Go ahead, Dennis. Dennis had a missing. Dennis, go
Yeah,
ahead.
First off, I have no quarrel with, presenting a matte finish airplane and being a contender for high points and everything like that. But Bob, you identified a few things there that sound like they're criteria for a scale model. Things like putting one kind of finish or one paint scheme over another paint scheme, blending it, the things you were talking about and everything like that. I could do that with my Nobler and put a half-ass coat of paint on it and stuff. Hey, there's the original finish, here's the new finish and everything like that. But yours isn't a scale model, so that you shouldn't get any credit for that, And you rubbed off the paint where the guy got in and out of the cockpit. Spectacular, beautiful effect and everything like that. Can you document that? Can you document the size of that scratch and stuff like that? And oh, by the way, why am I judging this for scale, or am I judging this for the finish, for the appearance? And I'll finish it off by saying, I think what you're talking about when you have elements like that in an airplane like that, what you've just described is realism, which used to be a criteria. And it would be realistic that this Wildcat would have been finished in a certain manner, weathered, put in service, finished and refinished in a different manner. I was just reading where things like the invasion stripes that we all put on our World War II fighters, in many cases, and the Brits and everything like that, they did it. They kind of held their hand up there, took a paintbrush and slapped the paint on there, and everything like that. So you put a shiny invasion stripe with nice straight lines and everything like that. That's just not right.
Well, I'm not talking about realism. I'm just talking about the quality of the work that's done.
The quality of the work sounds spectacular. However, what I'm saying is that if it has different layers and everything like that, I don't know that by itself qualifies as a excellent finish. That's all.
If it's perfectly applied?
Perfectly applied, it still looks like hell. All right. It looks like hell, like the original airplane looked like. All right. After going through everything, going through a war zone, going through several paint jobs.
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just brought it up because
that's
I know
it. What I'm saying is that, you're, and it is a spectacular accomplishment. I'm not trying to discredit it, but let's just, call it like it is. It really, it doesn't sound like something that you could grade, that like you could get credit for the fact that you did it, I guess.
Well,
I don't see the connection. I don't see the AB connection.
Let me interrupt, Bob and Dennis. Hang on, you guys. Jim has been waiting for a while. Jim has his finger raised. He might have something else to say. Go ahead, Jim.
So I listened carefully to the read of the rule book, and the word that was used was appearance, the appearance of the airplane as it's presented. And I know historically we look at workmanship and finish quality, but it's appearance. And I think those words leave a lot of leeway to the judge. The other thing I'd like to point out, Bob mentioned earlier in his conversation about complexity. And again, in the rules, that word complexity doesn't appear, but appearance does. And I've seen very, very often when you have, the judges have, 60 seconds to make a decision, and they have two planes of essentially equal quality, equal appearance, and they'll tend to give the nod to the more complex airplane.
It takes a lot more work.
Yeah, if it's complexity, I guess you got to be a little careful with that. Making it making a paint scheme that's complex doesn't necessarily make it prettier.
Right.
Let me interrupt.
There are some airplanes that look extremely good with a simple stripe on it, and there are other, there's some with stuff all over the top of it, and that just it just makes your teeth hurt to look at it. So even though it's beautifully done, it's just, it's not cohesive and it doesn't present well.
It's too much.
I think Keith has an answer regarding the rules, and then after Keith, Gordon Delaney. Okay.
And then me.
Keith, did you find Oh, did I
Yeah.
forget you, Mark? I'm
That's okay.
sorry. Okay,
Okay.
so Keith and then Gordon and then Mark, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, Keith.
I don't have all the old rule books, but I can go back to 73 official model aircraft regulations, and there is the appearance for the 4 categories: workmanship, realism, finish, and originality, 10 points each. Then, let's see, that was 73.
74.
74. Actually, this is 75. Yeah, 74, 75. It's the 2 categories, workmanship and finish. And there's a fairly long column in the page that talks about workmanship and finish. It defines what all those things are. It'll take too long to read all that here, but it's part of a page in here that talks about all that. And then those 2 categories stayed as separate categories through, well, it shows up in the 76, 77 rule book. And then in the 78, 79 rule book, it just appearance with basically the same words that we still have. That started in 78, 79, which is only what, 43 years ago.
Wow.
And then Ron Burns, that happened in was that the early 80s? Or no, it was before that.
No, it wasn't.
Is one of the,
88 at Tidewater.
that sounds about right.
You know, and I still
hang on, Steve. I'm sorry. Gordon, go ahead, Gordon, and then Mark Wise.
Talking about Bob appearance points, I was at a huge contest about 8 or 10 years ago, and my airplane was 3 rows back, and I went and looked at the number 1 airplane, and mine was every bit as nice as it was. So I went over and asked the judge why it was so far back. And he says, I don't like the color.
Good God.
Exactly. He didn't like the color.
Was that your cream colored thing there, Gordy?
No, that was my Heinz 57.
Okay.
You know,
They tell me they don't like me.
I mean, when you want subjective judging, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Either you want that or you don't want it.
Well,
and you can't complain when you get it.
Aren't you glad I brought this subject up?
Yes, a lively show. And let's let Mark have his word, have his say. Mark Wise.
Yeah, there are 2 things I wanted to cover. One was film coverings. For me, I can cover an airplane with film about as well as anyone I know. When we were judging film airplanes, the guy judging with me said, well, that's a film airplane. We can't give him more than 14. And of course that raised an issue. I said, no, that's not right. But however, you can put film covering on an airplane and have it absolutely so good that you can't see a seam anywhere.
I've seen those.
As opposed to one that's sloppy. So the one that was sloppy got less points. Another thing that we did after I convinced my partner was that any film airplane that was buckled because of the heat lost points, because if you put on film correctly, it won't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other part of this was we took 2 minutes per airplane. It took us 2 hours to do 60 airplanes. A couple of people, like the owner of this site, thought it was too slow, even though he ended up doing pretty well. But if you look carefully at a finish of an airplane, there is no way to hide bad construction.
Right.
You see every joint, you see every unfinished, unsanded piece, you see lines that don't line up. And so we did it, we judged it, and I didn't know, I should have read the rules, I guess. Our appearance was a split deal of finish and workmanship.
Not.
But it was very clear to both of us, the longer we did that, what was really an 18 or 19 or 20 point airplane and what wasn't. And when we went back and looked at every row, we didn't move one airplane. So our technique was not to knock anyone down for monocoat unless it was poorly done. And there were some really poorly done ones.
Absolutely. And I've seen airplanes, film covered airplanes, that you could not tell they were film covered airplanes. Two of those airplanes, two people could do that exceptionally well. One was Bob Barron. His airplanes were all film covered. Another one was Bill Fitzgerald, David's dad. He could cover a wing and you could not see anything that this was a film covered airplane.
Andy
You
Lee
know,
was
I always can. I can see the seams on any film covered airplane, and you're going to see.
Well, you haven't seen, you haven't,
you cannot.
you haven't seen those airplanes that I've
No,
seen.
I've seen
Steve, you're wrong.
so many airplanes
Steve,
out there.
Steve,
that
you haven't seen
were
the airplanes.
judged.
Steve,
I've seen so many monocoated airplanes. I mean, the guy lived one street over from me who covered every single airplane for Top Flight.
that doesn't mean anything.
And he was on the covers of stuff. Nobody could beat him at Toledo when they had the stuff there. It was monocoated. No one could beat him. He did all the shows, all the deals on how to do it. But you can see a seam because you overlay one piece of plastic over another. If you can't see that, then your eyes aren't any good.
All I can say-
It's just like a paint line when you pull up tape.
Steve, I'm just saying,
can't see.
you haven't seen the airplanes I've seen, so drop it.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Anyways, let me
I've
say
seen
hi to
better
people who
airplanes,
came in.
and
I haven't had a chance.
Thanks, Charles.
I haven't had a chance to say anything to. I think Carl. I don't know if I recognize you, but thank you for coming in, Carl, and Stuart, and Bob Whitley, and I'm not sure if I recognize Caffeine and Mike Millard. So you guys, thanks for coming in.
Very welcome. You recognized me earlier. But
But I'll bet you $1,000 you can't show me an airplane trossel that I can't find a seam on. I'll bet you $1,000. Put your money where your mouth is.
It's irrelevant.
Meet up someplace and I'll find
Come
it.
on, Steve. Come on.
Why do you want to argue? You know, this is why.
No, you start saying, "Oh, you can't." You haven't
Knock
seen
it
the
off.
airplanes that I've done.
Let's
or
bring
seen.
down the
It's
temperature, Steve.
bullshit.
Just calm down.
It's
We're just talking
bullshit.
about. We're not even talking about
Glad
your
I came in
plane.
and asked this question.
Huh?
Aren't you glad I came in and asked this question?
No,
Yes, it's-
I think it's the right one to answer, and that's why I said we should have a building contest, a flying contest. Take the two together. That is your all around or that trophy they give out.
Of
A
course.
Walker Cup. You take the two, total them together, and that's the Walker Cup winner. Whoever can fly the best and build the best wins that. Make the points higher in the building. You can do originality, this, that, and everything else. Make
Okay,
it 100
Steve.
points.
Steve, for your information, appearance points aren't used for the Walker Cup, okay?
I know they're not now, but I'm saying that's
They
how it
never have
should
been.
be.
They never
That's
have
how
been.
it should be.
They never have been.
What? I don't care what's never has been. They should be.
What, appearance points? You're asking the juniors to put their airplanes up for appearance against the open guys? That's not, that's a flying contest for the Walker Cup. That's what that is.
And,
I think
and,
Denny-
when's the-
Denny could
and who
shed
is the
some-
last junior who ever won the Walker Cup? Raise your hand.
Maybe Bill Warwich, maybe.
Very
No,
simple.
Dennis.
Then
Dennis said right here.
Dennis was a
I'm out of
senior.
here. I'm out of here, guys. Steve, man, just, you know what? Go be a judge, whatever. You said a couple months ago you're never going to come back to this place anyway. You know what?
I said, I
But you
didn't
were
say
done
back
with it.
here. I said have nothing to do with Pampa.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Dennis,
Yeah.
did you win as a junior or as a
Done.
senior?
Senior.
As a senior,
Thank you for coming in, Mark.
You
I
bet.
was just one, I wasn't sure if Gary Sipra might have been the last junior.
Gary Sipper was the last junior to win it.
I think Bill was a senior, wasn't he?
Bill was a senior, and so was Art Pulaski. And the only other junior that won it was Davey Slagle, and he won it the first 3 years that the
Right.
Walker Trophy was presented.
Right,
But that wasn't stunt as we know it now either.
Right,
exactly.
but it was still a Walker Trophy.
Well, it was the national stunt champion under the way they determined the champion in that era. So, which
But in the modern era of it, the first winner that wasn't an open flyer was Art Pulaski, and 56 57 or 58, I'm not sure which. And then Billy beat Palmer in 59.
Wasn't after Slagle, wasn't there a guy named, was it Hoyt Hawkins? Wasn't that a
Did he
senior?
win it as a senior?
No, Hoyt,
He was open? Okay,
Hoyt never was that high.
okay. I thought there was somebody there that was around there, but
I've got the list.
2000.
You were the last one to win it that wasn't an open flyer.
Yeah,
right.
but I've got the list.
Could
Hold
you
on.
tell us a little bit about that contest?
And what year was that?
It was 50
72.
years, 50 years ago. All right.
50
So,
years ago.
yeah, in fact, I had prepared my Walker Cup acceptance speech this year based on that. I was practicing it and I was promising I wasn't going to come back again until 2072 and all that kind of stuff. But
Good luck, brother.
but you know, it's just the speeches that you never get to deliver, I guess. So but of all things, that was the year that they had never awarded appearance points in the Walker Cup, and there was a protest that year because on basis of flight points I won, on the basis of flight points plus appearance, I didn't win. So I was protested by the open winner. And because I went to school that fall and everything like that, I eventually got the Walker Trophy, but I didn't see it until Thanksgiving break. So
Wow.
yeah, woe is me, etc. I should get I've been looking for it. I got to find a picture of it. I was the last one to win the Walker Trophy before it got restored to its former glory. That was one thing that Al Rabe did in 73 that I thought was, I don't know that he gets enough, you know, it's one of the things that he did that was a real positive for everybody was when he had the trophy restored. Because when I got it, it was kind of clunky, the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob,
Yo.
Yeah.
I got to watch the Palmer Warwich fly off. I was there in 1959.
Wow. I think Charles was the safety here. He had his finger
Beat
up.
him so bad. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Charles, is there something you wanted to say?
Well, actually, I thought he was trying to ask something, and I was just going to give Phil a chance.
It's all right. You've already been answered.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
I want to make a comment about that Walker Trophy fly off in 59. I wasn't there, but at VSC 8, Billy and I drove out together, and Bob Palmer was there. And it turns out that Billy and Bob never spoke after the Walker Trophy fly off. Billy's buddies gathered him up on top of their shoulders and ran him off to celebrate. And Bob and he never had a chance to talk. And the first time they saw themselves since 59 was at VSC 8. And there was a meeting out on the field. Billy was holding court, you know, people were asking him a bunch of questions. And everybody was out there. And Bob Palmer walked up and did the classiest thing I've ever seen in my life. He walked up and excused himself to say to Billy, I never got a chance to congratulate you for that win in 1959. And I wanted to tell you, there was no question about it. You beat me soundly. He did that in front of everybody. He said that in front of everybody. Jim, you might have been there. And it was the classiest move I've ever seen. And he and Billy bonded. And Billy actually did an interview for a videotape I did that year with Bob. And you could see the admiration and respect they had for each other was amazing.
Wow.
That's the value of this event.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Let me make a comment. Brent Williams said, howdy, y'all. And sorry, Brent, I couldn't get a chance to say anything, but howdy back to you, Brent.
Hi, Brent.
Hey, Brent.
Anyway, boy, I'm glad I came on tonight and said that.
Yeah, I'm glad too. We had a show before this where it was kind of dead, so you livened it up. Thank you. So Bob Whitley, excuse me. I hate when I do that, but can't forget my friend Bob Whitley either. But Bob Whitley, you have a question, Bob Whitley?
Actually, just a few comments. It's fantastic seeing some of the old faces back, like Michael and whatnot, and all these new faces. It's really refreshing. I think you're doing a bang up job, Charles, attracting people.
Thank
and, did you cover the calendar this month too with John on it?
Yeah, we showed the calendar as the picture of John Jordan and Sparky at John's house, which is kind of a picture of a show that happens on pretty frequently at John Jordan's house. So
great. Yeah, I went out today to try and do some flying, but it was just too nasty for my skill level for winds. So I took out some engines in my test stand and broke in a couple of new engines and test run a few, and then went off to visit my father in his care home there, not that far from there. So there turned out to be a pretty darn good day in spite of the winds.
Cool.
Hey, have your flight in the
here too.
What was that, John Miller?
I was asking Bob how his flight in the Cessna 206 went.
Actually, it was a Cardinal. That went great. It was a fantastic experience for the student because we had crap weather and all kinds of nasty stuff and 90-degree, 15-knot crosswinds to deal with. And it was a great eye-opener on the capabilities of his airplane.
Ah.
And he wants to keep flying, which I hope so after spending $170,000 on an airplane. So all is good. But the airplane will be down for a few weeks because I kind of ripped him off on the inspection and the mechanic down there, and it had 2 cracks in a muffler, so that's got to be replaced. So we're kind of on the ground with that airplane for a few weeks. But yeah, it was a great experience. Thanks, John.
Hey, Bob, you didn't go to the Nats this year?
No, I was down with a real bad back again. I've been going to physical therapy, and just yesterday, pain went away.
Wow, fantastic. That's good news, Bob.
It finally did go away.
What did you do to make it flare up?
I just have I broke my back in the service back in '68, and I've had a disc involvement, scoliosis, stenosis, herniated disc, disintegrating discs. I hit the $1 billion lottery on back problems.
Yeah,
and,
I just wondered, it's like I was feeling,
it just triggers, and I'm in severe pain.
I was doing really good until I went there and walked on the grass for a couple hours for beginner and advanced and or intermediate, and I overdid it, and then I was shot for over a week. And I knew better, but I did anyway. And I just wondered if you did something you knew you shouldn't have done and got it flared up.
No, it's just the doctor told me, he said that I'm living on borrowed time when it comes to my back. I'm going to be a cripple before too long, and I'm just trying to put it off as long as possible. So, hey.
Big deal. Back in the 70s, and I've had 2 back surgeries since then. I know what you're going through.
Yeah, but you know what? It's what it's supposed to be, and that's okay. I'm all right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us that have back issues.
Keith has his hand raised, and hopefully
no fun.
Gets back on model aviation.
Yeah, for the record, for the non-senior winners of the Walker Cup, 46, 47, 48, we've heard Davey Slagle was a junior. Then Don Ferguson in 51 was a senior. George Aldridge in 52 was a senior. Hill Hutchins Jr. as a senior in 54. Bill Cummings was a senior in 56. Art Pulaski was a senior in 58. Bill Werwich is a senior in 59. Jerry Cipra was a senior in 62. And this guy called Dennis Adamishan was a senior in 72. That's it.
Who's Dennis?
Oh,
All right.
I was there. I was there that day when Dennis won that trophy.
So all the teenagers here, all you teenagers, take heart. You could still win that Walker Trophy before you're an open flyer.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say one of the other differences of the Walker Trophy there, Keith was there, and that probably you could have counted all of our spectators on the fingers of one hand, I think, Keith.
Yeah, it was Dennis's family and a couple others and the judges and the event director. That's about it.
Well, heck, it wasn't even it was just my dad. The rest of the family, they'd already headed for Detroit. So.
Wow.
What are
You
you
do to
laying?
tick 'em off,
What are you
man.
laying down, Dennis?
No, well, the computer is. I was trying to find a picture here and I haven't put my hands on it yet. So.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to. Oh, that's your leg. I'm trying to think. At first, I thought that was your arm, and I'm like, "What's he doing?"
Well, it's my secret exercise to overcome my back problem, so I don't end up like you and Bob. So.
Yeah.
I don't want to start another controversy here or another thing, but last year they flew because of the situation that was going to happen on Friday. They flew the finals and the Walker Trophy fly-off on
Friday.
Thursday.
Right?
Oh,
Thursday.
Now, how many people were there spectating for that Walker Trophy fly-off?
There's a lot of people there.
There was a lot of people there. So there's a good argument for having the Walker Trophy fly-off right after the top 20 fly-off. Just saying.
I have a question from our chat. They said, this is William Chapin. He says, Dennis, did Todd Lee fly in the Cup as a junior?
Did Todd Lee fly what again?
In the Cup as a junior.
Walker Cup.
Yeah.
As a junior champion, he would have, yes.
Yeah, and 87.
All right, there you go, William. And Philip Bailey gave us a like. Thank you, Philip. You're a VIP. Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't have it scanned, but can I just show a picture
Yeah,
there?
let me make it big. Make it big.
Wow, yeah.
Cool. Spotlight for everyone. There you go.
At the orange crate?
Wow, look at
No,
that.
that
young-
is the Fuga Magister, but I wanted to call attention, not to the handsome dude there,
Yes.
but to the
Where?
trophy he's holding. That was the Walker Cup in 1972.
Nice.
Well, that was after Ravy had restored it to that form.
Well,
I'll dig up a picture.
You notice all we have is the base, the globe, and there was a bogus statue figure on the top. You
right.
take a look at what the trophy looks like now. It's about twice as tall. It's got a man flying, it's got lines on it and everything like that. And like you say, Keith, they added another layer and stuff like that on it, but that's all there was to it back then.
You got to build another one of those and put electric in it, dude.
Yeah. Thinking about it.
Dennis, I'm going to keep nagging you about that until you put out plans for that airplane, because I always just loved it.
Me too.
Well, I've actually discovered there's a difference between people saying I like your airplane and people saying I'm going to give you lots of points for your airplane. So
Good luck with that.
and I'm getting older and more pragmatic. It's like, yeah, I'd really like to find a way to get lots of points. And the problem is people like to score what they're comfortable looking at. That's all.
I'll send you a bottle of Canadian whiskey.
I'm on it, Bob. I'm on it.
What trophy did you win with that airplane?
Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't even the Paul Walker Cup by that time.
You're looking to find a bigger trophy to win that one?
Yeah, that's it. A bigger trophy. That's right.
Well, it is a little bigger now.
Well, the bigger trophy would be I suppose that would be, almost any of them now, but, which reminds me, I don't know what to do about this, but, this is off the subject. I think the only class we're missing a perpetual trophy in right now is the intermediate stunt class. And of course, we've just lost Bob Brookins, who was deeply, involved in that. But the event has always been sponsored by the Brodak Company. And so I would be a little hard pressed to name a perpetual trophy after either of those. Either of those guys certainly could make their claim to it, but I'm just wondering if that's something we need to look into.
Why couldn't it be both?
Why couldn't it be both?
Brodak / Brookins perpetual trophy.
Yeah.
I'd throw $10 in, or even $20 in on buying that trophy. How many people will throw some money in on that, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would like to take it up the next time I have any contact with our illustrious president, and maybe have a discussion with that and see what it would take to.
Who did it before
get
Bob?
that established?
It was, I can see him and I can't think of his name.
I think John may have done it himself a couple of times. I'm not sure.
No, it was he died.
Come on, Alan. Alan.
Alan, yeah.
Oh,
Alan,
did Alan do
Alan Brickhouse?
yeah, Alan
intermediate
did that.
and beginner?
Yeah, and he's the one who started giving away prizes and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
started giving away the presents table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Brick
We
House,
had to
how
put
many
Alan's
years
name in there somehow
Alan did
too.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Brickhouse, Rodak, Brookins Perpetual Trophy.
The B cup.
The B cup.
Triple B
That's
cup.
exactly what it is.
Yeah,
A B
the
cup.
The triple B cup. No, wait a
I'm not
minute.
sure our wives would appreciate
I'm not sure that came out right. We might want to rethink that. But
Maybe
yeah, it's something like your heart's in the right place, but you get your face slapped anyway, or something like that.
Okay.
Well, Dennis,
Anyway.
Dennis, just keep us abreast, will you?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this is a very titillating discussion here tonight, boy.
Oh boy.
No,
All right,
that was
not
good,
going
Mark.
down, not going down that rabbit hole.
That was
Sorry.
really good,
Not
Mark.
going
All
there.
right, let me ask a question that'll maybe get us started back in the right direction. I don't know if I don't know. I make no promises,
Too
but we'll
late.
ask anyway. Bob Hunt,
Yeah.
the Crossfire, what motor did you have in it and how many cells? What would be a modern, better question, what would be the modern badass, I hate that name, but that's what it's called. Badass motors, what would the motor be?
I started out with a Cobra 28, 2610, a 4S, 4000 or 3300, depending. But now it mounts a badass 3515, 710 kV, a 5S 2800, and a Fiorati timer.
Okay, I've got the Fiorati timer and everything else. I just was wondering how many cells, because trying to get 6 in that thing's a little bit of a challenge.
I had 6 in it, but I wanted to bail out the nose, and I took out the 6S, which is 2 ounces heavier than the 5S. I also took out about 1 ounce of clay. I opened the handle, and the airplane locks better than it ever did before.
Yeah, I want to fly it on 5 cells because I have 6 brand new 5-cell batteries.
Yeah, it works fine on that.
Okay, that's what I put in it then.
The only thing is, when I put those gurney flaps on it, on the elevators, I did lose about 4 or 5% of battery. I use a little more battery.
Oh yeah, it's going to take more draw. I mean, that's definitely more drag. But I think a 2800 will still make it.
Oh yeah, 2800 works fine. I'm still at like 31%.
Oh yeah.
Now you remember, I also fly on solids, which and I fly thinner and smoother lines than most people, and that also contributes to the reduced battery consumption.
Have you tried the new fishing line lines yet? I forgot the name of it.
I have, but not on a competitive airplane. Dennis knows a whole lot more about that than any of us here. So.
Well, I put them on my Vector and went out and flew it a few times, and I put them on my Nobler. The Nobler is, after the rebuild, is just too darn nose heavy, but the Vector is way too tip heavy now. I got to pull some weight out of the tip, but I couldn't believe the turn. It really seemed to, it did everything better, but it just got too much tip weight in it. So I got to retrim everything, but I think it's going to be a better mousetrap.
One of the things Dennis and I were discussing, and we both came up with pretty much the same conclusion, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, was that a big advantage of those lines is the lack of line inertia when you're turning a corner. When you're flying in level flight and the lines in the airplane are going in the same direction at one speed, and then you, let's say, turn an abrupt inside corner, the airplane turns, but the lines are still going forward, and they tend to bring the inboard wing down. They make it roll towards you. And so what you say, what most people will say, well, I need more tip weight. So they put more tip weight in, and then when you pull out of a corner at the bottom, it bangs. And there's a delicate balance to get that right. But if you put on these lighter lines and take out tip weight, you're kind of like having your cake, eating it too, going out for dessert, then having something sweet when you get home.
Well, it's neat, but what the guys were saying, I flew it on 15 thousandths, and they were telling me that in a hard corner, he said the lines were always lagging behind, and then they tended to pass the ship. And he said with these, it's just a straight line out the plane, and they stay right with it.
And
not
it feels
exactly,
so much
but,
better.
but it's way more of a straight line, and it follows the airplane quicker because
Yeah.
of less inertia.
Yeah.
You know,
And when you
so
do a
there is-
triangle, you don't see a big bow behind above it. It's wild.
and the other thing that's not readily apparent is the reduction of the NETC band wall
Mm-hmm.
because of the drag in the lines. You know,
Yeah.
it reduces that NETC band wall effect.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm finding it, that really started coming to play when I started flying the smaller, lighter airplanes like the old timers and stuff like that. It was like adding an ounce of tail weight with none of the bad things you get when you add an ounce of tail weight.
Wow.
When I was flying and I was using that ultra thin stuff, the Fins 40G on the old timers, I went to Brodak, I was using that too. And it gave me the darndest feeling that I was flying a control line airplane without any lines on it. I mean, there was no, the lines were there. They were there. I could see them, but they weren't imparting any action on the airplane whatsoever. All right.
The thing that flipped me out was your handle is feels so much lighter.
Yeah. Everything,
It's
that's that tip or that tail weight effect I was talking about.
Yeah.
It's like you got more control without it being sensitive. So
yeah. And you can still feel your airplane, but you just feel more of, I mean,
yeah, I
if
don't
you hit
know
a
if
bug or something, you can feel it. And it's
I wish
weird because
Len was here. So he's using them on his gas planes and stuff, and he really likes it. But I wonder if that's I think it's probably more pronounced on an electric airplane than it would be on a gas airplane. But I gotta
That's
believe
all
the
I've
gas
flown it
guys
on.
would feel it too.
yeah, all I've flown it on is the electrics, but
yeah,
it's wild. I'm going to try to fly it this coming Saturday on my old timer, so we'll find out. I'll find out. Let you know next week
leave your
if
tip
we
weight
get to
home.
fly. Weather report is for bad weather Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, we've
Lightning
had a
storm.
crappy week too, so I wasn't able to get out at all. So
I wanted to go today, but it was blowing about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Dennis, the Spectra lines, ignoring the concept of lap speed, have you found any difference in air and control responsiveness or whatever with regards to line length? Is it better on shorter lines, longer lines? What?
Well, every place I've got it has been a 1-to-1 replacement. So if I was flying 65-foot lines before, I'm flying 65s. Well, actually, I put it on 66 just because I had the room for it. But you know, that's not a big difference. And but I haven't like taken an airplane that I could only fly in 58s and put it on 65 or something like that. So you know, is that what you're asking? So
yeah, that's what I'm asking. Just curious minds want to know.
yeah, and I think now the lines that I've chosen in every case are smaller diameter than the lines they're replacing. So I have been seeing, you know, trending down in battery usage and stuff like that. Again, you won't feel that with the gas airplane. What you'll feel is the, gosh, I got an extra 100 RPM worth of power here or something like that. It's like the engine's running just a little bit stronger, and of course it isn't, but the it's not being held back as much. So there's more power in play. So.
Well, logic would suggest that since you have less drag and you go to lower diameter, you have less drag on the lines, you could go to a longer line without any detrimental effects. You know, you'll be able to add line length to the airplane without having the attendant extra drag. I mean, you're going to have lower drag to begin with, so you can probably lengthen the lines and fly at a higher airspeed, but a lower lap time. You know, your airspeed would be up, but your ground speed would be down, and the airplane's going to be more responsive because it's traveling at a higher rate of speed. Speed creates lift. So I would think that the longer the line you can fly on without any of the attendant negatives, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, and like I said, not an inch of disagreement on any of that. I just haven't tried to exploit anything like that yet.
Right.
So.
That's just logic, you know.
Yeah,
we haven't
I
tried
think
it yet.
one of the things that I used to try to fly the airplanes on smallish airplanes on longish lines, and again, some judges don't like to see that. So they don't like the idea. They don't like the look of a little airplane on long lines. So, but anyhow, it's. I think that there's lots of opportunities there. It's a new set of opportunities that we've never had before. That's all.
Go ahead, Jim.
I had success with them on a 32-ounce glow-powered OTS airplane. But I've also urged everybody to pull test their stuff. I have a reel of line that I've failed about 5 or 6, 7 pull tests on. I sent it back to the manufacturer today.
Okay.
Wow.
So you weren't able to get any joy out of that at all then, huh?
No, I tried that exact method that we
Okay.
talked about, and it failed.
Well, see, I don't see if Mark is still here. He mentioned he had the same thing. I made up 3 sets the other day and no issues at all. That was off the same fact. I ran out of my first spool, so I can't make any more lines till I buy more. But yeah, and I did the pull test on the 80-pound Max Quattro. I made up a set of 63, 64s, and 65s, and pull tested them the way I described. Well, pull test, it's a combination it's a pull test and it's also a pre-stretch, which I kind of think we should do with steel cables too, but that's another story here, not here nor there.
What do you pull test yours to? 80% or what?
50%, and then hold it for the other day I counted to 120 instead of 100. So
okay. That's
you have that many fingers and you have that many fingers and toes?
I'm sorry?
Did you have that many fingers and toes that you could count to 120?
Well, I will say that I unzipped my pants and I won't let it go any farther than that. All right.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a can of worms I don't want to know.
That's a lot of booze to get that in.
Took off my
Boo.
shoes. Yeah, the whole thing.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Here
we
we
just
are
got
at
this
the
love chat.
here we go with the triple B
XYZ
cup,
best
right?
adult dating site.
Hey,
Dennis, on
Dennis,
that example, what would your comparable aircraft be to glow on that test?
What
Using those lines, let's say the airplane you're flying, which is electric, a
Okay.
comparable glow aircraft, what lines would you run for diameter?
There's a lot of different choices in size and everything like that, and I was afraid of getting really, really tangled up in my shorts on the whole thing, so I made a decision to do just a couple of standards. I'm using 80-pound Max Quattro, Power Pro Max Quattro, which is their small diameter line, the 80-pound test. I use that on everything that I used to fly on 018s. I'm using 50-pound Max Quattro on everything I used to fly on 015s. Okay. And then I've got this Fins 40G, especially small, thin line. It's actually a 45-pound test. And I'm using that on anything that was qualified to fly on 012s. Now, I didn't actually use 012s on anything because my experience with them was they were so fragile. I'd tear them up trying to, drag them through the grass or anything like that, after a flight. So I did not routinely use 012 lines, but I had several airplanes that were qualified for it. I just didn't use it. But those airplanes are going to get a special treat because they're going to be going all the way from the 015 steel down to the new 009 Fins 40G line. That's going to be a huge difference on those airplanes. And, they're going to lose all their tip weight, and they'll probably be getting inboard tip weight. So, because I actually built tip weight in, I routinely build tip weight in, and then I use the weight box just for the fine tuning. But that means even when I empty out the tip weight box, there's still weight in the airplane, which in a lot of cases isn't easy to get to, and it's just easier to put a slug on the other side.
So this Power Pro Max, is that a Spectra brand or is that
Yes.
its own brand? Okay.
Power Pro was the company that introduced Spectra lines to the fishing industry. Okay.
It's
And
when I
over
was
the years, they've come out with a couple of different styles of the line. Max Quattro was a line, I think their most recent one, where they introduced a line that was made to a little bit different standard, and it's up to 25% smaller than the original line that they brought out. Okay.
Because looking at Cabela's here, which is pretty much the only source, they seemed really limited in what you could get, and some of the quantities were just freaking huge that you had to buy. So this gives me something to look at. to try and narrow it down with.
Yeah, I've had good luck. I was just looking at it again on Amazon today. I can get the Max Quattro. Shop around. Fishing tackle stores obviously would be the first choice, but I was just getting it off Amazon. And the Max Quattro comes in like 150, 300, 500, 1500 foot spools. And you might think, gosh, that sounds like a lot, but you start making lines, you can start, use them up pretty fast. So
you go through the 150 spool pretty quick.
Yeah, the 150
yards.
spool, and I had a green and a yellow, and I ran out of yellow. So
well, I just got a new spool of yellow, and you can see these lines. My first was 65 pounds for the 15 planes, 015 lines, replacement for them. And don't buy that stuff. You lay it on the grass, you absolutely can't find it. You lay it on the asphalt,
the most common color is the dark green, and it's miserable. You can't see it in the grass, you can't see it on pavement. I can't even see it in the air. I lose sight of it about 20 feet out from the handle.
Well, it's the most aggravating thing is when you finish your flight and the airplane's laying on the ground and the guy's walking out to pick your plane up, and you think you're going to take your safety thong off and spin your handle over. I spin mine twice and check my lines and make sure they're straight. Who knows? You can't see them. So that's the only aggravating thing to me is you cannot see the darn line, see if it's straight or not. You could have 20 loops in it. You can't tell.
One thing is that a fish may bite on your airplane if you get that.
Well, I hope it don't end up in the water. But
shark.
Yeah.
I have a question, guys, on the pool tests. What would you use? I know the Nats has a sophisticated way of doing the pool test, but for us hobbyists, what just
go to Walmart or whatever and do what I did. I mean, I'm cheap. Go to Walmart and buy a little fish scale.
Okay.
It'll measure up 25 pounds, or mine goes to 50 pounds, but I got the saltwater version. But anyway, it'll go to 50 pounds, and you take that and you just put it on there and pull. Everybody wants to do both lines at the same time. You need to do one line at a time.
Okay.
Pull that thing. If it's a 100-pound line like what I've got, I pulled it 60 pounds because I wasn't thinking. I think I pulled it 65 and held it for a minute. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, this ain't the thing to do. But anyway, I backed off of that one, picked up the other one, pulled it 65 pounds and held it for a minute. Backed off of that, and then I had said I would measure the lines to see how much stretch was in it. There just isn't. There's not enough to worry about. I think it stretched. The 100-pound stretched something like 330 seconds. The 65-pound was a little more, but it wasn't a full eighth of an inch. It wasn't enough to worry about. Now that's after tying the knots, and I'm a fisherman, so I tie a lot of knots anyway, and really pulling the knots, trying to break the knots. And then pulling the line itself, it just doesn't stretch. And it works great. And I actually decided, one of my buddies who's a fisherman decided that I should put my money where my mouth is. So I bought some more of the stuff and put it on a fishing rod, and we took it fishing, and I left the flip. So I threw it in the lily pads, and it works great as fishing line too. So the stuff does work. It's great line.
Thank you, Phil.
So, you're welcome.
I'll do that. Go to Walmart or Amazon and find.
No, you won't get it at Walmart. You can get the scale at Walmart, but the line, the best place I found is Amazon. And buy the yellow or the white. Do not buy the green. Don't waste your money. You will be disappointed. There you go.
Good.
There you go, right there.
Is that a luggage thing?
That's it.
This is it was actually sold as a fish scale. It's good for 110 pounds.
Oh, you got the good one.
Yeah.
That's a digital.
And great, it doesn't show up worth a darn. And
That's
basically,
see the glare.
For my twin.
Yeah,
and that's Wally World or Amazon, Dennis?
This was off Amazon. I think it was $11.95 or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. Okay. That's a lot nicer scale than I got for about the same money.
Yeah. Now, what I noticed with this is it's actually made for weighing a fish, and you load it up, and if the weight stays static, then it just records the weight. It stops reading. So if you're trying to pull test your line, you pull it straight and hold the load, then it stops. It stops change. And if you reduce the load or something like that, it doesn't give any feedback. So what I find myself doing is I'm constantly pulling just a little bit, just to keep the load moving a little bit.
Yeah.
Just letting it bury a pound or two or something like that. So I'm out there in the backyard pulling with this thing, pulling on it and rocking back and forth and stuff. And I don't even know. All I know is that my neighbors all seem to disappear when I'm out there doing it. They don't want anything to do with it. But at any rate, I found it works. It's really, really dependable that way.
All right,
So-
I'll check it out. Look for one.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful though, because it's a fish scale for fishermen, and a 10-inch
gonna-
trout with
I
that
know what's
scale
coming.
will weigh 150 pounds. Think
Yeah.
about it.
On those big
I
fish
knew what
stories.
was coming.
So Dennis, Phil, I really appreciate the advice on that because I was just about to make up about half a dozen sets of lines here, steel lines, and maybe I should
You'll be
just
glad
order-
you did. You'll
go
be
that
glad you
route.
did. It's so much nicer than the steel.
Yeah.
Now, like I say, since I changed to them, I have not flown them on gas, on blow. So I don't know. I can't speak to getting it loaded. There you go. I can't speak to getting it loaded, getting it greasy, and having to try to clean them because I don't have any exhaust.
Yeah.
But that stuff works great.
Max
Be sure and get the
Quattro.
25% thinner stuff.
Okay, everyone
And-
around here seems to be opposed to it, but none of them have ever tried it. So I just don't take
Well,
that for worth
You
anything.
buy that and do the double figure 8 knot in the ends of it and clean. Do like the AMA. Do like it's shown on YouTube or in the AMA
Thank
video.
you, Dennis.
You'll be happy. You'll be happy. You'll be glad you did because you just don't have to worry. I did like Bob. I flew solids for a long time, and solids you're always worried, and I'm always running down with my fingernail trying to find any nick in it or anything. If it got a nick in it, I threw them away. And always making new lines, and making new lines. And with this stuff, you can take this stuff and tighten and knot, just make a mess. And if you're smart enough not to pull hard when you undo it, you can undo this stuff and take it out and fly it again. It doesn't kink. It doesn't do any. It has no bad habits that I've found. But I like
See,
it.
my-
It's just.
I was thinking I tend to have to fly at odd hours where no one's around to launch or anything. I'm using my stooge. And if I'm not landing right back at the stooge, which half the time I don't, I'm dragging my steel lines across the grass and everything because we just fly off
We all
grass.
do.
And, I've only buggered up the one set near the end so I can shorten it, but on my 15s. But if I can avoid that entirely, well, that's a win.
Yeah, you'll like them. I will guarantee you. I don't make many guarantees. I guarantee you'll like them if you tie a good knot and check it before you try it. And, do like we're telling you, a good figure 8 knot, and it's just simple to tie it. Run it around, take it over, bring it around under the back, put it through. And I reach through with a spring hook and grab it and pull it down. I get little short knots. Everybody else makes long ones. It makes no difference. I've got one set that's got 1.5 knots in it. I've got one set that's got 1/4 knots in it. I can't tell a bit of difference. Everybody rags me about the short knots. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's the best tool right there for it.
Oh,
I use a spring hook because I'm an old technician and I have them captive as well as regular spring hooks. But that right there, my wife is a knitter and a crocheter, and crochet hooks are all over the house. So that's the easiest thing to grab, and they work fine.
My wife's a knitter, so those sort of things are easy to score.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Oh yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to jump.
All right.
Yeah, I've got to.
Thank
too.
you, Bob, for coming in. Thank you.
That's better.
I got a PT
Hey,
thing in the
Bob,
morning.
before you go,
Yep.
Bob,
Still
always
there?
good to see you, brother. You take care of yourself.
Hang on,
before
Bob.
you go, does steel lines or spectral lines affect appearance judging?
When I was in
only if
Tucson,
they're
I
monocoded.
insisted they judge my lines with my airplane because I had these beautiful pink camouflage lines. But they still
Only if
gave me
they're
11
monocoded,
points for
Mark.
appearance.
If you
So
monocode them, you're going to get less points.
that's
There
exactly.
you go.
But they were
Listen,
flat
one
finish.
last-
They were flat finish. I think that worked against me.
There you go. One last thought on about these lines. And this is something that I haven't tried, so I don't know for a fact, but Dennis, you could probably tell us. Logic would seem to suggest that you can run the lead out guide further forward.
You can.
I'm sneaking up on that. Let's just say I've been doing some things, moving the lead. Certainly the tip weight, shouts right out at you. And one of the things I'm looking at is, I was looking at the sweep in the lines thinking, well, gee, maybe I need to move this around some. And I've been going forward and back and everything like that, and basically ending up in the same old place. I think you're right. I think less line drag leads to a more forward lead out location.
Which is what makes the airplane fly less tangent to the circle and consequently fly cleaner.
Well, cleaner, uses less battery. Again, it's a win in the right column, right? I mean,
Not flying in a crabbing condition around the circle. Yeah.
well, that's it. If it's not crabbing around the circle, all of the power out of that battery is going right into the flight, and that's a good thing. So,
I have moved mine forward. I can't tell you how much, but it's about 3/16, but I only got 3 flights. So I go slow.
To me, that didn't shout out as much as the other things, but that's one of those things
Well, anytime you take tip weight out and the plane still flies as good as it did before.
Yeah, and I'm at the point where I've got the MoBest has never flown anything but the Spectra right now, so it's like I can't tell you that I moved it forward because of the Spectra, because I put it where it needed to be. So
yeah,
along the lines of
All right,
monocoating.
Bob, thank
take
you
care,
for coming
Bob.
in.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good night, man.
Hey, Bob.
Well, we were joking about monocoating the lines a minute ago. It made me think we ought to reintroduce line groupers. You guys from the 70s remember that?
I'll take him out in just a minute.
Yeah.
I don't remember line groupers.
Oh, that was for speed, where it was little aerodynamic tabs to keep the aft line lined up more for reduction in drag. They were outlawed after about a year, but we always joked around how are you going to make it work for stunt.
Well, actually, I did wonder about trying, because the lines are so slippery, I did wonder about taking off with 3 or 4 twists in the line. Because I was thinking that the lines twisted together might be less drag than 2 lines separately.
Yeah, it would be.
I think it would be, but what I noticed too is when you get a twist in the lines, you get one twist, the lines come together and they go right back apart again. I mean,
I have a question in the chat box regarding lines. William C. Chapman, he said earlier, I didn't get a chance to recite what he said, but he said Art and Pete Bergstrom were very helpful when I started flying stunt. I still have several big Art motors and KNB 60 that Dennis tuned. Now on to the lines, he goes on to ask, he actually asked something earlier, but he retracted it. But what I have here now is the line is tied tight to a quick connector, or is an eyelet used? I think he's talking about Spectra lines.
Hang on just a second.
I do the same thing Dennis does. I do the same thing Dennis does. I don't know how Dennis connects his. I put mine, I run it through the center of the thing and take it over in a linear loop, and that's the end of it. Yep.
But you see this, William? We have these welded rings. Is that right, Dennis?
Yeah, it's all right. Is
There
that
we
showing
go.
up?
There it is. I need to buy some of those.
Yeah, it's a welded, it's a round piece of wire, bent around and welded. So it's smooth and equal diameter. I take that and I tie it into the loop that we tie at the end of the line. And the purpose of it is, in my mind, there it is. I'm trying to make the end a little more friendly for the line clip. Now, Mike Lonke has told us several times, he's been using them in combat for a dozen years and stuff. He says he never bothers with that. You can put the clip right into the tied loop. And I don't think there's any problem with that. The problem I have with doing that is if you're going to use a scissors style clip like this, okay?
Right.
The line is small enough that it'll actually go between the edges of the scissor clip, okay? And it can slip out. And this wire loop is actually physically larger than the line is, and it won't just slide through between the ends of the clip.
All right.
Don't say it won't.
That's to me. I don't want to work.
Don't say it won't do it, because one of the guys when I was trying to launch, told me to stop a minute, and he reached over and fixed it where it had done exactly that. So with the
Okay.
metal clips, I haven't had that problem.
Well, the old Sullivans like this is, that's, I haven't any trouble with that. I have some that I bent myself, my homemade ones using the Jim Lee, it's actually Derek Moran clip bender.
Well, that's what I was using.
Yeah, and what I found with those is when I go through, usually when I bend those, the fingers don't come together real good. And I have to go back and kind of finish them and kind of, just twist it. It's just a quality thing, frankly. But when you do that, then they come together really good, and they'll help, it'll help them resist, the line slipping out.
Right.
But yeah,
you
you're
don't
right.
you don't have to have it come between the two of them, but one time, and you go back and re-examine every one of them and figure out how to make it work.
Yep.
Well, it's like with the Jim Lee clips, is that we had it snag on the cut. There must have been a little jagged edge, and it went up there, and it had separated the line. It caught part of it, and part of it,
Oh, that could be a bad deal.
So, then I'm taking off looking at them like, I ain't flying these lines, but so I got rid of the lines because it got snagged in there. I'm thinking, well, maybe I got to cut these and grind the cut mark so it's smooth, so something doesn't, but how Dennis does it, then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
Well,
once you put those steel rings, it's done deal.
Yeah, the steel ring, I like the steel ring so far, and that's it. I mean, grand total, none of us has a full year experience with this, except unless you've been using them in combat. So there's a lot of opportunity yet to be discovered. So
Dennis has got a lot more experience with them than I do. He put up more flights at Brodak with them than I've got up with them total. But
yeah, and what Jim was describing and Mark Lumen was describing, this thing where, they're buying 100-pound line and they're breaking it at 20 pounds. I have absolutely no idea how that's happening. And,
that's scary, because that's what I've got, 100 pounds.
Yeah.
What I've flown is 65, but what I have brand new, the yellow, is 100 pounds. So I'm I'll have to go back and pull test them again and check them.
Well, if you make them up and you go through the stretch test, you've already stretched them out, 60 pounds of line and stuff like that. I'm not sure what else you can do,
I think I got good stuff.
But
I think
what Jim was describing is he's going through all of that and he goes to pull, to stretch it out, and he breaks it at 20 pounds. And it's bizarre.
Yeah, that could be a bad deal for sure.
Wow.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to get out of here and go take this little fella outside, because he's already jumped up in my lap saying he wants to go out. So anyway, y'all have a great one. We'll see you Friday night. Take care, everybody.
Good night, Phil.
Good night.
Hey, we're gonna end the show really quick. Anyways, Jim, thank you very much for coming. I know you gotta go. And John, you had a comment, and then we're gonna end the live stream.
Yeah, I got a real quick question for Art. Excuse me. No, that's actually a compliment there, Dennis.
Well, you calling me Howard? I want you to mute this man.
He's calling you Art.
Okay.
Howard. No, I called you Art. Listen, I've got 66 pound, and you say you're using that where you would normally use 15,000 steel. Is that right?
I'm using 50 pound max quattro in place of 015. Now, if you got 65 pound.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that's somewhere in between. That's bigger. That's obviously stronger than the 50. The diameter is going to be a little larger. You got the regular Power Pro. That's about an 016 diameter, I think. Something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure how far you can take it. I think you could probably, take it, higher. Well, 018 steel lines are supposed to be good for a 55 pound test. All right. So you got 65 pound line there. That should be strength wise. It should be the equivalent of 018. But I have not, since I have not tried that in an 018 application, I'm not going to tell you to put it in an 018. It's certainly safe for a 415.
And I was figuring on an 08, replacing 018s. And I got some 45 pound for the smaller stuff.
Right.
Am I in the right ballpark, or do I need to get
so.
something else?
I think you're good.
So.
All right. Well, great. I'm going to end the live stream. Some of us are going to stick around and have what I call the after party. But if you want to come into the after party, you need to come in through stunthangar.com and go to at the bench. If the at the bench does not show up, you might not be logged in or not a member. But that's how you get into the after party. And I want to
I'll
thank
see you
everybody for
guys
coming
Friday,
in. We
hopefully.
had a really good show, and we had interesting
He did.
conversation about appearance points. And so we'll be back Friday. Please go out there and have some fun, go in your shop, and come back and share with us Friday about your last flights or what you discovered in your shop, what you're doing, and we will see you then. So until then,